All righty, everybody. Oh, happy day. I hope you're doing phenomenally well. I am here with Kyle, and we're going to be going through the pitfalls of the industry. We're going to talk about what you need to know so that you don't get whooped in this industry, which can be amazing and is responsible for some wealth building that is not common in the W-2 mindset. Okay, so we're going to go through what it takes to be successful, but we're going to talk more importantly about the pitfalls that you're going to need to know when you first dive into the insurance industry. We're going to go over this with you. But before we go into this, Jasonfinalexpense.com. I do run a national insurance agency partnering with Medicare life and annuity agents, selling face-to-face, but more importantly, in the telespace. So I hope you take the time to enjoy this and hopefully bring you value today. So Kyle, thank you for joining us, brother. Say hey.
Hello.
I appreciate you joining us. Kyle runs his own agency as well, and you can reach out to him as well. So Kyle, you've done insurance for a long time, brother. You've been crazy successful. All right. Selling final expense, doing the face-to-face scene, multiple years. Okay. High six figures. That's not an easy task, brother. That is not an easy task to accomplish. And you've been responsible for training countless agents in your agency as well. Okay. And for anybody that knows, it's kylestuder.com. Check his YouTube channel out as well. Great man. Crazy respect for you, buddy. So in this industry, to have six-figure levels of production, not just a unicorn year, but to do this time after time, it takes a lot. And you've got, some background and maybe some pitfalls. We'll start off with the pitfall of the MLM structure, right? That a lot of folks fall victim to. And what would you say is the biggest thing to look out for to make sure that an agent doesn't fall victim to that MLM like vortex, right? Because a lot of agents that get their license and then all these MLMs start hitting them. What would you say is the biggest like warning to make sure they avoid those pitfalls?
Yeah, man, it's a great question, and there's so many of them. I actually just did a video today, so it's kind of helped prepare me for this, and I think it comes out Saturday on my channel. But the MLM money pitch, when you go into a meeting and you're sitting in a hotel room, you're in the front row, you're told to dress sharp, casual. There's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of people, woo, from the audience and excitement. And you have no idea what you're there for. You're there for maybe like the financial services industry, somebody called your resume. So one of the 4 or 5 questions they're going to answer is, how do we make money? And so in the video I did today, you'll get on a whiteboard. Let's say you, what's your name, sir? Bob, this is your first time here? Nice meeting you, Bob. So Bob, we get Bob started, right? You're a little circle on the board. We get Bob selling 5,000 a week, about 15 appointments a week. You're writing 5-7 applications a week. He's doing his $5,000 a week. And the point is, they give you this blue sky pitch. And so if Bob's selling $5,000 a week, he says, you know what? I'm doing pretty good. I'm making 80%. I'm making $4,000 a week. I'm making $192,000 a year. I'm living great. I'd be selfish not to share the business. So Bob, you hire your friend Jose. And let's say Jose gets cooking and he hires his friend Jose B. And he hires his friend, he brings in another person. We're going to call this guy Tim. And we get all these guys doing their 15 appointments a week, writing 5-7 applications a week, right? Everybody's just killing it. Everybody's great. Everybody's a $20,000 a month producer. Everybody's writing $5,000 a week. And they go into this money, right? I'm not going to get into the details here, but you're overriding this guy and his buddy at 10%. You're making $4,000 off of this group a month. You're making $1,000, $2,000 off of this guy per month. But what happens, guys, this is what I want you to watch out for. It's one word: deception. The whole model is built around deception. And if you Google right now the word con, like a con man, it is to persuade someone, usually someone, to believe or to trust that something is true, usually using deception. That's a con. You're persuading someone to believe something to be true using deception. And so what's deceptive about it? Everybody is familiar with gross income and net income, right? There's some people who will deceive, like they talk about their gross income. They don't talk about what's in their bank account. They talk about their gross income, but that's not their net. That's deceptive alone. But they're like upping the ante, because when they write $5,000 on the board, you new guy Bob, we're going to get you writing 5,000 a week, and you're making 80% because you've hired a couple people, and you're making 4,000 a week. Here's the deception: that 4,000, that's not even gross income. You got to whittle that down because you're ignorant to the industry. You're brand new. You don't know what placement is. You don't know what persistency is. You don't get told that you're getting in advance. You don't even get the money up front. You get in advance. You don't know you have to buy leads. You don't know you have to pay tax. So what happens, guys, is this is deception. I'm selling you. I'm excited. I've got my initials on my cufflinks. I've got a fake Rolex or something. I look the part. My body language is good. This isn't my first rodeo. You're sold. You're excited. And I'm writing these numbers. These are life-changing numbers. And we're partnered with huge billion-dollar companies that you heard of. You've heard of these companies. So that makes you feel good. Like, we couldn't be crooks because we work with these legitimate companies, A-rated, sponsored this TV show, been around 100 years. So it's not hard to get got. And this, all of a sudden, this $5,000 number, 80% of this $4,000 number, that's your commission. That $4,000 gets whittled down to under $1,000 a week. And you're buying those leads from the organization, and they're overriding you with a huge spread. And you're building the dream. They're sold the dream. You're recruiting. You're paying the organization for resumes. You're paying the organization for conferences. You're paying for your team to come to conference with you. You pay for your team's hotel rooms, or sometimes you're giving your team books. Everything's being bought from the organization. That's just a glimpse. So that's the pitfalls, guys. And then, there's just more. We could go into it so deep. Like my, well, I need to, take a second to breathe and let you ask some questions, but man, don't go the MLM route, guys. I mean, the margins are small. The dream is a dream. It is not real. It's a blue sky deal. And hopefully that sheds a little bit of light on the money situation.
Absolutely. Because it's all about like the rah-rah and not the real talk. It's all about the rah-rah, not real results. Like they're like, oh, look at me flexing. Look at my Ferrari. Look at this. Look at that. And then you don't even realize that he had greased skids. Okay. There's agencies out there that say we eat what we kill. We can't wait for an agent to leave us because we own the contracts. And the agent isn't paid direct by the carrier. They're paid by us, and they're not even vested. So when they leave, we take their clientele base and then go make money. That's how they make that living. So they're showing you some of this money. It's off the backs of good men and women that were shined on. They were kind of maybe told that it was going to be easy. In this business, just for everyone watching, 90+% of agents do not make it, for a varying amount of reasons. This business is very simple. When you understand what you're doing, you've been properly trained, properly coached, you can do phenomenal things, but there's no guarantees in this business, everyone watching. No guarantees, but you can increase your level of success for sure. But the MLM structure that exists out there, this like go recruit, or man, you're going to make this kind of money. They show you certain things, and that's great and all. But let me tell you, there's a lot of folks that have to learn, unfortunately, the hard way. They don't talk about the transparency of the industry, that this business looks like a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hustle in this industry. Kyle didn't become successful from sitting on his hands all day. He was helping others, but he was also just hustling out there, seeing the people. It's not like you're going to recruit your way, into wealth. It just doesn't work that way. Just for those of you watching, some agencies are like team issue paid, team issue paid, team issue paid. They're not talking about team issued net. If you're spending 20 grand a month on leads and to net 35, and then you got fall off rate, you're broke. Depending on where you're at. So it's not just okay, about the rah-rah, because that's a pitfall of this industry. Okay, you've got to have an element of transparency that understands that you can have a great day today, and then tomorrow you get kicked in the face. Okay, you shouldn't have a bad week. You should never have a bad week if you're a full-time agent working. That should not happen. That's a skill set issue or maybe a leads issue. There's a lot of things there, but it can happen to the best of us. Okay, it can. So the unicorns and rainbows, be careful, be cautious. Okay, if anybody promoting that. So no, I appreciate that, Kyle. It's so true in this industry. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, man. To piggyback off of something you said there, you mentioned the word transparency, and that's one thing I've really, when I left, when I really decided I was leaving, that's what I was looking for. I did not want to be, sold this idea. Like I was very disappointed. Like, for a time I thought, like, man, I'm gonna be wealthy. Like I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna live this awesome lifestyle. I'm gonna pay the price. And I invested quite a bit of money. Um, I had 2 part-time assistants, like booking recruiting interviews. So I had a bookkeeping service tracking all their stuff and paying them per hour to do the accounting. I had low margins, it was hard to save money because the money's just flying out because I'm putting it back into my business. I'm really funneling it up to the guy who's got a Ferrari, 2 planes, and a Maybach, and a $67,000 Rolex. That's the guy who's getting rich. It wasn't me. But one thing I want to piggyback on is transparency. Like, there's 2 things you need, and I've heard you talk about this. And like, when you're looking for an agency, if you're interested in telesales and you're looking at Jason, or if you're looking, or if you're face to face and you're looking at Jason, he trains face to face too. If you're looking at my agency, if you're looking at whatever agency you're looking at, in my opinion, there's 2 big things you really need to get. Like I've got a video that talks about like 7 ways to improve your career. One of them is trust your gut. But these 2 things aren't listed in it. And this comes from the book, Speed to Trust. 2 things you need to be looking for: character, competency. Character and competence. Like character and competence. Those 2 things are huge. And one without the other ain't no good. Like
Absolutely.
my multi-million dollar mentor, whose name I can't say, but I followed him around for like 4 years, man. I thought like, I would literally follow him around. I'd watch his gestures. I'd watch how he talked to people because I wanted to like emulate. I wanted to do what he did. And he was the most competent person I've ever met. Very intelligent, with it, sharp. He ain't dumb. Sometimes he'd act dumb. He'd act like a little like redneck, and he'd act dumb. But he's extremely competent. But then when you sign up with his agency, you sign your life away. And so the character didn't align with me once I saw the true character. So it can't be one without the other. Now the flip side, this is a guy extremely competent who lacks the character. The flip side, the more common thing that you hear all the time, that I hear all the time talking to agents, is Kyle, my upline, you might know him, Kyle. Like, I mean, he's a nice guy. What's that mean? Nice guy, got character, but he's not competent. So I've been running these appointments and like, I'm not closing deals. I'm like, so what do? Do you call your upline and what's he say? Keep dialing. The competence isn't there, brother. Like he's not going into depth because he hasn't been there. He can't tell you what's at the bottom of the deep end because he's never swam to the bottom.
Hey, it's no competence is going to get you hurt in this industry. Like you've got to be learning from someone at the top of the food chain that's done it, that's been successful. If not, you're going to get hurt. Like this industry is painful enough. Even when you know everything and know how to transact, you know how to handle yourself, this business can still look like hard work and you'll have a day where you're underpaid. Kyle, have you had a day or even a week where you work like an animal trying to help great people and it didn't go the way that you thought? You didn't just like magically have this massive pile of money at the end of the week?
100%. And, this is not what most uplines would tell their agents, but guys, the way I've always done it, like when I wrote the most production I wrote, my best years, I would wake up on Thursday morning. Thursday was the day I would call. I had resources. I would schedule out 5 to 7 hours worth of dialing, usually knock out my dials within 3 to 4 hours. And I would schedule 15 appointments over the course of Saturday and Sunday. I'm running direct mail leads almost exclusively, occasionally some kind of other lead, almost always direct mail. My show ratio got pretty good, and I would usually write between 4,000 and 6,000. This was final expense mortgage protection. And it worked, but there were weeks where I would go out and I ran my 15 appointments, and for some reason I only sat with like half, and I just got my butt kicked. And sometimes I wouldn't sit with that many. I'd sit with less than half, and I start to create that internal pressure. I start to press. I start to be thinking about my numbers, so I start treating the people like numbers. And then I'm like self-sabotaging. I'm not focused on serving. I'm not operating out of an abundance mindset and what I have to give and what I have to help. So I'm no longer connecting. I've got some commission breath because I'm getting selfish. And so this is all part of like the learning curve. And I don't think you can just learn this. You can't just watch a video and say, okay, I won't do that. Like, no, it's an internal problem you have to work through. You have to overcome things in this business. So blanking, having a bad day, having a bad week, it is part of the growth. And you probably agree with this, Jason, but like if you look at the S&P 500, the history of the S&P, man, it's crazy. It's all up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you look at the over the long haul, if you can provide yourself perspective, it is always going up. So it's like our career, man. You're going to have ups and downs and ups and downs, but if you're doing it right, you're climbing, you're getting better. And it's really now I don't want to ramble too long, but that's how the business works. But I was just talking to an agent today. It's like, it's easy for you to hear me say that and you understand it. But when you understand it, you're like working out of this logical part of your mind. So I'm glad you understand it, but I'm concerned, like, what are you going to do when you feel it? When it becomes real to you? It's great to hear about ups and downs, but when you're in a down, when you're in the valley, what do you do? Because a lot of people quit. A lot of people think they understand it, but then they go through a down point and they can't hack it. So,
absolutely. Pain is necessary. Pain is necessary if you want to progress in anything in life. Doesn't matter if you're working out at the gym, you got to go through pain if you want the gain, right? No pain, no gain. Everyone's heard that. It's the truth in this industry. You've got to go through some pain, whether it's pain through a week-long telemastery program like I put on. It ain't easy, but let me tell you, it sure is a lot better to go through that and know what you're doing than to get on the phone and really get got. Hey, that's painful too, okay? And anybody can get into a position where, man, their day doesn't go according to plan. You could do everything textbook, and then what you thought doesn't take place. This business takes time and grind, okay? It's not easy, but it's very simple. And be careful also for those of you that are kind of watching out for some pitfalls of the MLM structure. They will normally always put something called a non-solicitation clause in there, okay? Read before you sign, okay? A non-solicitation clause means basically they can give you the claw if you leave, okay? Go after your clients, give you a massive set of chargebacks. Be careful about non-solicitation clauses, okay? Vesting arrangements that take 10 years before you're vested. That just means they're going to take all your hard work and you're going to go, okay, down the road. Yeah. And they can sometimes terminate you for no fault of your own. You're an independent contractor, but yet you're working for an MLM type agency. Just make sure you understand what you're endorsing. Very important. Transparency is very important in this industry, and it doesn't always happen. So watch out for the pitfalls for sure of the MLM all the rah rah, right? I always say, don't listen to what I say, listen to what other agents speak about me. That's more important than anything that we say, is helping other great men and women get what they desire in this industry. Because a lot of people do have pitfalls. It hurts.
Yeah.
The MLM is a huge thing. So any other thoughts on the MLM before we dive into the next pitfall?
I mean, there's so much of it. I mean, I would just sum it up with, you know, I put a video out on that too, and I spent 4.5 years there,
Right.
and I can certainly appreciate people that kind of want to think like, well, he's just on here bad mouthing because he wants to build his own agency. Like, I understand that. Like, you don't know me. I could just be some other communicating con man, right? But I spent 4.5 years there, and I just got back from a trip. We won an all expense paid trip on a Mediterranean cruise. I got to take my brother. This was 2017. I was off to the best start ever in my career. I think it's like leading up to June, every month was like above 15 or above 20,000. It was my best start ever personally. And I was just like dialed in, like just excited. And I get back from this trip, and they asked me to talk and get up there and inspire people. So I do. I tell them about the salmon on ice for breakfast and the fancy stuff you get to experience. And they want me to sell the dream. Long story short, the guy in this organization, this is the mothership of all MLMs. If I could rattle off 3 or 4 major IMOs, you would know their names. They all came from the same organization that I came from. So that's their roots. And so the guy says a lot of stuff, but he says with his mouth, I'm going to tell you this so I don't have to feel guilty. I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to show you the real levels of this business. First level, these are the ignorant salespeople. This is who we make our money off of. We make our money off of ignorant salespeople. These are managers who think they're building a business. And these are the people that know the secret. And he says, our model relies on people remaining ignorant. And he says, our presidents build an amazing company because the majority of people remain ignorant. What does the Bible say? The poor you will always have with you. He's like, it's like the cancer industry, right? It's nasty, but it's true. Do you think they really want to cure cancer? Do you know how many people would be out of jobs? This is what the guy said. So I'm like 4.5 years in, all invested time. I got some great skills, got great skill sets from it, but damn, it was nasty, dude. It was like my spirit was just like,
But you're grieved, man. It's no good.
just not feeling good, man. I had tears in my eyes, and I have it all recorded on my old Samsung Galaxy phone, and that's why I transcribed it to my channel.
Right.
So I say this from a valid perspective, and it came to a bullet point. It wasn't like, this is how I feel. This is what I think. That's what they said to me. And he had the second biggest organization in the company, and he had been there since the inception of the company. So that's a big player. It's not like some Joe Schmo who, had an agency. So now we're with the MLM.
Right. I mean, the MLM thing's a real deal. I mean, it's dangerous sometimes, right? Like I had an agency that reached out, yesterday, and it was a very interesting conversation, but they're like, oh, we've got this amazing lead program. I was like, awesome. Let's talk about it. Like, oh, sorry, it's Secret Squirrel's proprietary. We can't talk about it. I'm like, really? I'm like, is it this? Is it this? Is it direct mail? I don't care about who it's with. And they were really guarded. Well, guess what I found out? It was just a Project 100. The back end of the story was, oh no, we're going to bring in a bunch of noobs, a bunch of brand new agents, and tell them to bring them 9 cases or 10 cases that we can go write. And that's our lead source. I'm like, that ain't a lead source, buddy. And it's like, and then you're going to take half of the commission off every new agent as the price to learn. If you're really successful as an agency, you should never have to do that to an agent, period. If you're successful, you do not have to go playing splitsies, okay? You want to make them successful because the greater that they are, the greater everyone is. And you're going to see greed in this industry through a lot of MLMs. You will see it. Oh, yeah, I'm going to put a field trainer with you, okay? And then the field trainer takes half. And if you don't have money for leads, well, I got to get you lined up, okay? Bring me all your friends and family, and I'm going to go sell them for you, and I'll give you half. And then you sign a non-solicitation agreement, and then you get your head together and go leave and do something different. And then it's like you can't even talk to your own friends and family. It's like, yikes, right? So, yeah, everyone watching, be careful of the MLM thing. But yeah, even some independent agencies can operate with that same MLM mindset, okay? Be careful. They can get you there too, okay? If you don't own and control your block of business, if you got like where they own you, there's some places out there that do that too, okay? So just be cautious for sure. So I appreciate Kyle's perspective on there. He's gone through the gauntlet, learned the pitfalls the hard way, right? So another thing that we'll talk about here is a lot of times agents think that when they first start out in the industry, a major pitfall is they need to have technology in place. They feel like they need a CRM. They need all this like fancy, shiny widgetry to really make wealth in this industry. And that's a pitfall because if you're over analyzing, okay, analysis paralysis, you're not going to be having the chance to be as profitable as maybe you could because we've got what I call that shiny object syndrome. Now, first off, there's nothing against CRMs. I've got some great CRMs out there. I've got a free CRM in my agency for all the agents that partner at jasonfinalexpense.com. They don't pay a thing for it. Okay, nothing. But if they wanted to purchase a good CRM with even a dialer component, I let them know some good ones out there because some are more expensive than others. Some are heavy affiliate fee based than others. But all CRMs do have their own pitfalls that can reduce your profitability, just so you can be aware of this. Okay, the CRM is not like, in my opinion, a magic bullet. I've used CRMs. I've run professional call centers. Everyone watching, this is my CRM. It's my fingers. Okay. A CRM has never made me any more money. Okay. It's made me less money when that CRM crashed or I lost data, or maybe your number gets flagged as spam. That's cost me money. Or you have connectivity issues, or the call quality is not as good as maybe it could have been through a varying, assortment of factors. So for me, a CRM can definitely be a hindrance when we're new. You keep it simple, salesman, right? It's important to stay simple, stay laser focused. But a CRM can be a good asset for the right individual, as well, for sure. So, Kyle, what is your experience, brother? For me, I'm a hand dialer, okay? I sold one today for over 2,000 plus in AP, all by hand, by the way. Joining my men and women, getting after it. What is your CRM of choice? Do you use one? Do you not use one? I mean, you've made high six figures multiple years. So from the horse's mouth, brother, you tell us what you've done on your fancy go-fangled CRM. I don't even use one, but you share the audience. What do you use?
Sure, man. Yeah, it's I get this question a lot. I actually got this question last night. Someone was texting me. We're like recruiting him from an MLM and organization. He's like, what do you do for CRM? What do you think about phone burner or dialers? What do you think about this, that, the other? And I just tell people like, man, I'm a dinosaur. When it comes to this, man, I'm 32 years old, but I'm trained as a dinosaur. So I do not use a CRM.
Wow.
And you heard my experience with MLM, like all the expenses. So when I went independent, one thing that I like really paid attention to is like, I'm not giving my money away easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I need to buy leads. I got a 4-cylinder car, it's good on gas. I'm not driving. I was conscious. I'm like sensitive about that. Like I'm not trying to give a bunch of money away and just drive up my expenses. So I use Google Sheets. It's free. You can track your clients, just track the monthly production. If you write 5 clients, if you write 25 clients, you put them in there. It's like February 22, all your clients, name, carrier you wrote, monthly premium, annual case size. You can color code them: green when they're accepted, green when they're paid. You can, enter your deposit. And it's nice because it's free. You can see it on your desktop. You can see it on your phone. You can just drag your finger down that column and you can see how much production you wrote that month, last year. You can go back, hey, what, February 22, okay. What clients did I serve February 21? Let's give them a call. Along with my new direct mail leads that are coming in, let's do some touch base with some clients, let them know I'm, now selling a med sup product in their area or whatever. So Google Sheets, guys, it's free. Very simple. I don't use a dialer. I've had agents use a dialer. Guy in Colorado comes to mind, and he's putting in work and hours on the phone, and he's just having terrible luck. He's telling me, man, I made 200 dials, Kyle, and I talked to like 11 people. I'm like, dude, you should have talked to like 20 to 25 people.
Absolutely.
And he found out his number's popping up as spam. And so these leads he's calling, which he invested money in, he's using this dialer, which he invested money in, and it's like you said, it's losing him money. Mm-hmm. And so I don't use the dialers. They could come up as spam. I've also heard, you would know more about this than me probably, but I've also heard some of them, they have that slight delay. Yes. If a telemarketer's called you, this is Kyle. Hello, Mr. Studer. They don't know me. There's a delay, like Mr. Studer or Richard, my first name, Mr. Studer. Hello, Kyle. That delay is not good. Like when I train my agents, when they're calling to set appointments for face-to-face, like you need to be ready. Like, hello, John. Like I know their name. I'm not saying, is this John? Mr. Russell?
Right.
Hello, John. Like grab their attention. That delay is a bigger deal than you think, especially if you're doing this weekly, yearly, over the long haul. So I don't use the dialers. Don't do anything techie, man. Like YouTube, since March 2020, that's like, people think I'm on YouTube. I must be like this tech guy. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I use my hand just to dial the phone, triple dial the number, ring, 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 hang up, call them right back.
Well, I love that. I mean, technology will take you out of this industry for those of you watching, okay? The old ways, okay? I always talk about low technology, high production, okay? As long as you got digits, okay, you can dial, okay? You just can. And as long as you've got good training, the basics of telesales, right? You've seen it. You need leads, you need a computer, okay? And you need a phone, and it's got to be clear, period. Okay. And the fact that, here Kyle has experienced people using auto dialers, right? And they're experiencing less success than hand dialing. That should tell you something. Now, you've got to train the hustle muscle. So for everyone watching, if you are not doing what you need to do, you're not going to be making it, okay, or having the best chance of making this industry. You've got to apply high effort, but putting the priority into something that is maybe busy work, or putting the priority instead of seeing the people, or making connections and conversations. If you're putting the priority into, oh, I can't be successful unless I have this shiny object over here, whether that shiny object is, okay, a new fancy date planner, or maybe it's the newest phone, okay, or the newest iPhone blankety blank, or whatever it may be, right? The newest thing is not going to help you leverage and make more money is what we're trying to get across to you here. So the fact that Kyle, very successful, okay, high six-figure agent, multiple years, okay, selling insurance, does not use a dialer. He's got an agency as well, and he's got agents that use them and are actually having sometimes less success. Don't get off track here. The pitfall of this industry is putting your prioritization into things that are income-reducing activities. Okay, this business is very simple, ladies and gentlemen watching. It's very simple, okay? Kyle may be younger, but he's no dinosaur, okay, because he uses a phone, okay? Everybody uses a phone, right? Nowadays, it's like, even my kids, they're like, oh, Dad, I want a phone. I'm like, awesome. What you going to use it for, buddy? Oh, well, listening to music and doing this. I'm like, nope, that's not what a phone's for. Sorry, bud. Give me a better argument. That ain't going to fly, okay? It's like we think that these phones are more like computers, right? So we feel like if we go archaic, we're somehow not going to capitalize. It's actually the opposite holds true. The fact that you can out-dial some of these power dialers. I got a guy that is out-dialed a power dialer by having this phone system that we have in our agency. It's legit, but he's able to actually talk to more people, and that delay is real. For those of you watching, I've run national call centers. Let me tell you, when you're doing this, there is a momentary delay, and that does have a way of reducing your pickup rates by a little bit. It's the truth. It can. Not to say that dialers are bad. Dialers are good, but if you get flagged as spam, oof, you're going to feel it, okay? When your dialer goes down, ooh, you're going to feel it, Okay. Now, dialers are good tools. I've got agents that partner in my agency that do use dialers. They love them. That's fine. But for an agent that needs to keep things basic at first, that extra money should probably be put into leads. Just my 2 cents. What are your feelings on that, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I tell all my agents, keep your expenses low. Leads, fuel. Well, for yours, you don't use fuel, but yeah,
Yep.
leads, fuel. Leads, have a good internet connection, like telesales. Good sound quality is a priority, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
simple, man. Like, there's one of my favorite books kind of talks about this. It's called The One Thing. And it asks this question, what one thing, if you do, I can't quite recall the question perfect, but the message of it is like, when one thing brings you disproportionate results, you need to give it disproportionate time. And that's the
Good.
secret. It's not about how I call Susie Q or John. It's not about that. Like, I'm not saying I know everything, but in my experience, like, it's always just been set up, put the time in on the phone for face to face. They say 80% of your success is based over the phone. And let me explain that. Like, that's not where 80% of your time's spent, but any person that can set up 12 to 15 appointments for themselves, they can get good on the phone. They're buying resources. They have an appointment setter, or they themselves are setting up a day like that. If you
Mhm.
set up 9 appointments in a day and you drive to their house, and they know the color car you're driving, and they told you how to get to their home from this side of town, and they gave you the color of their house, like, you're going to sit down with people and they've inquired about what you're selling, and you have a process, you're going to make money. If you have 9 appointments in a day, you should probably write like 3 applications. If your average case size is $50 a month, it should be like $1,800 in first year commissions. That's conservative. 3 out of 9 set appointments. So what's the secret? Buy direct mail, call them, get good at the phone. It doesn't happen overnight. If you
Exactly.
quit before you get good, well, if Michael Jordan would have quit when he didn't make the high school basketball team, he wouldn't have been the best basketball player the NBA has ever seen, right? Like, it's not a secret. And you got to think about this. There's a lot of people out here who want to sell you something. And sometimes it can be good, right? But I'm always like trying to keep my money in my business and not give it to other people's businesses. So CRMs and dialers and
Right.
whatever.
Well,
But
is it costs you like if it makes you more money, fine, that's an investment. And if it takes you the other way, causing more headache, more frustration, um, that's an income producing activity. You may think it's like fiat currency, right? You think it's going to make you a pile of money, and then you find out it doesn't. It just makes you frustrated. And over the phone, you're going to be frustrated. I mean, when my CRMs had issues, oof, man, I was hot. I don't know about you, but I was hot. If that thing wasn't working, I'm losing money. I might as well be burning dollar bills like every minute I can't talk. Right. And it's like that hurts you. And then when you finally get on the phone, you're so darn frustrated. You're no good for anybody when you make that call. They can sense it in you.
yeah, man, I always pull this out. This is a $9 planner
Yes.
from Walmart.
Absolutely. The plan
So
ahead, isn't it? That's
see
one
it
of my
bigger.
favorites. Plan
I
ahead, isn't
write
it?
my I write my appointments right in there. Like in my agency, we have a little private Facebook group. There's tools. It's like looks like an Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
From 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. These little boxes. You can fill in your appointments. You sit down. You know when your appointments are going to be scheduled. You don't know what names are going to go in these boxes yet, but you know your schedule. You're tracking your dials and your contacts and your appointments set, how many you sat with, how many you sold. It's on paper. You can write the name of the month on top. You can put it in your Google Sheet. It's not fancy. There's just a lot of stuff, guys, that like doesn't make you any money. It's not of substance.
Mhm.
It's just like, I don't know. There's probably some valuable tools but I mean, it seems like every time I see something I think's valuable, I talk to a credible source like Jason or somebody else, and they'll kind of reaffirm my initial fears. Like, oh yeah, don't do that, brother. Like, let me tell you this, this, and this. Let me tell you the back end. Let me tell
Right.
you what I found out about that. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Well,
just
a lot
another,
of times
just another
too,
thing.
brother, like not to cut you off, buddy, but one of the things that is going on now, another pitfall is like, oh, sell insurance the new way. Sell insurance the new way. You can do it in 20 minutes, 25 minutes, right? You've sold face to face. Other than the unicorn in the stable, okay? One out of a million that you walk in the door and they say, hi, Kyle, great to see you. Take my money. I've got the checkbook on the table right now. I'm ready to sign whatever you've got in your briefcase, which like never stinking happens, okay? Other than that, even as a face-to-face guy, when you're walking in the door and they've never met you, they're not a referral, okay? Not your family, your mom, okay? Like buying from you. Is that a pitfall and a lie, or is that truth? Like, is that fact or fiction? Oh, some new way. You can just do it in 25 minutes.
In my experience, fiction. It's not a fact. It's not true. I mean, um, I admittedly, I think I am slower in the house for sure. I am more like relational, personality wise. I put a big emphasis on like connecting and building
Absolutely.
rapport, and um, because it's like, they say bond and rapport, and like, so when you think about it, if you bond two things together,
Mhm.
they're bonded, but it takes time. They got to heat up. You got to bond them. Once you're bonded, you can move that piece around. They move together. But if you come in and when I've struggled in this industry, when I've went into slumps, when I've just been like talking to myself, like frustrated, like what the heck's going on? It's always been when I got focused on me, focused on production and my numbers, and not serving. And that's where I like started that mantra. Like I'd remind myself in the field, like I'm here to serve, not to sell. And if I can get into that kind of headspace, I'm here to serve, not to sell. I'm going to look for every opportunity available. I'm going to do everything I can to help the family and to make money. I'm going to look for every opportunity. But sometimes it's not there. Sometimes they just don't want it. Sometimes they're just not going to do the deal. And every time I've struggled, it's when I've tried to speed up the
Right.
process. So, I start selling, I start getting successful, and I get this thought, you know what? If I could get more efficient in the house, I could sit with an extra person a day. That's X number of people per week. That's X number. So I've always had bad experiences with that. I've not ever really been able to consistently go in 30 minutes, even 45 minutes for me is like tough. So yeah, to
That's
me,
face to face. Goodness. I mean, that's face to face where they can look at Kyle and go, wow, okay. He doesn't look like he's got, okay, some problems.
right.
Okay. And you can build trust faster in the face to face play. And it's like there's definitely some fiction getting put out there, saying, "Oh, this is the new way to sell insurance." Yeah, it's like do this, do that, and they'll buy from you in 25 minutes. Let me just share with the YouTube audience, even in telesales, okay? I've done this a long, long time in this industry, and you cannot even get through a telephonic application with a carrier that's an amazing carrier, even if you get the access code, for example, from like Prosperity, for example, a great company, by the way. That carrier, even when you get it, it's a very short interview. It still takes you 23 to 25 minutes just to do the interview. So if you go to a good carrier that's going to take great care of people, and there's countless others, by the way, you can't even get through the telephonic interview in under 20 minutes normally. So anyone telling you that you're going to like from point to point, you're just done. Sell insurance the new way. Sell insurance the new way. Let me tell you, the only person getting harmed and is going to have a pitfall is you. I promise you, like you go too fast, you're going to lose profitability. And even if you sold them like a guaranteed issue carrier, you're rushing that process. And anytime you rush, you're really going to get hurt because there's that glue of the sale. You don't have that connection, that time. And even if they transact with you, you're going to be the one that's going to get harmed. You're going to fall in the pit because they're not going to keep it. They don't like you. They haven't had that connection long enough. And even if you force something, you're not going to be financially successful, even if you get your little issue pay. Okay. It'll issue pay now, and it's going to be putting you into chargeback debt. Okay. 2 weeks later, or they're going to cancel the check before you make it. Okay. To process the application. It's going to hurt you. I've seen this, but just so everyone understands, even in telesales, everyone, you don't get it done in 25 minutes. My fastest sale ever was a guaranteed issue sale with like no telephonic interview. Okay. It's guaranteed issue, which means if you've got a pulse, we've got a product. And even that in telesales, and I've done this a long time from point to point for everyone watching, that still took me 25 minutes to script, find out what she needs to help this sweet client, and then help her with a guaranteed issue carrier with no interview. You still have to be careful, and you start rushing things to go faster. You're going to transpose card numbers. That costs you money. You're going to transpose and type in a name wrong. Cost you money. Kyle goes too quick in the home. Promise you, those little shortcuts are going to take your success away, or at least your chance for success away. And anyone in this industry that says you've got a 100% chance of success, if you have an insurance agent, it's your lottery ticket, they're lying to your face. And I believe one of the pitfalls of the industry is some of these folks out there saying there's some newfangled way to sell in a time-tested and noble profession. Now, I'm not saying there's not technology that cannot help with some things. Okay, brother, I'm not saying that. I think that's, not transparent too, to say that. But I think everybody wants to complicate this industry and take advantage sometimes of agents that don't know any better, which is sad. So, what is your thoughts on that? What you've seen as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that temptation of complication.
Mm-hmm.
And life is simple. Like one of my things I like to really remind myself of is uh the simple life is the good life. There's a lot of pull on us, not just in this business, but in this world.
Sure.
It's easy to compare yourself to others. There's always people who make more money than you. There's people who are better than you. There's people, you think their marriage is better than you. You think their business model is better than yours, or blah blah blah. Their carrier or their special lead program. The simple life is the good life, and this business, if you keep it simple, it'll help you. So I wouldn't complicate it. And then to piggyback on what you said in regards to moving fast, like I have experienced a handful of times. Now I've learned to not do this, but like I go into an appointment. It's well, 1 second.
Oh, you're good. And kids are such a blessing for those of you watching. If you're lucky enough to have a family like Kyle and I, it is one of the best things you can ever have. Okay, let me tell you, your family is maybe one of your whys why we all work so hard. It's from having a good family. And to avoid some of these pitfalls will helpfully, see, I can't even talk, flub my own tongue. Hopefully, this content is going to help you help your own families, or have the best chance of being successful to, give your families a lifestyle that maybe you didn't think was possible. This industry can do it. But if you fall into some of these pits, it can, diminish your odds. Okay. No industry is 100%. So make sure you understand that. But yeah, it's awesome. Sorry, brother. Go ahead, Kyle. You're back, buddy.
No, we can talk about that another time too. But yeah, I mean, that to me, that's a real part. That's a real life thing. Like your family, that's real. There's a lot of hype about other things. Your family is for real. So apparently the dog's missing. So that's the big deal. But to share with you what I had learned, over time, like there's occasions where you run in to an appointment, the guy's old school, and he tells you I don't know what they call that, self-actualizing buyer, or they know exactly what they want, they know exactly what they're willing to pay. Boom, 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 this is it. And even in these cases, I have walked in, they say, I want to pay $50 a month for this. I'm like, okay, great. And I write it up, right? He wants it. He's telling me he wants it, like give him what he wants and get out. Well, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get paid, I get in advance. And so often it comes off the books.
Exactly.
Maybe, you might think that's confusing. Maybe he looked at something else. Maybe he found a better deal. I don't know. But you always, 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 I don't care if you think, and they're selling you on, they're ready to buy right now, you always take them through the process. Always develop the why, always connect. If they say, hey, let's get to this. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. How old are you, John? Now I'm giving them this illusion that
Yeah, you give them the illusion that things are, going in the way that they're asking you to, but yet you're putting them into your process, I think is what Kyle's trying to get across here. It's crazy important. So is there a new way to do things faster? Well, you're going to find yourself hurt if you rush this putt. So it's all about control. I think now Kyle's back talking about just the fact that I'm thinking where you're going here is we got to, get them through that process where they think that they're controlling you, but yet they're not. You're leading them through your process, but yet you're just taking good notes.
Yeah. So for example, someone says, all right, how much is this going to cost? All right, let's get to it. You're trying, so how long you lived out here? 15 years. You trade a little bit of conversation. All right, let's get to it. Oh yeah, sure. I give them this illusion that they are in control. John, how old are you now? Okay. And you smoke cigarettes? Okay, perfect. And then I poke my head back up and I start trading conversation. Did you say you were married? Oh, how long were you married? And I'm not doing anything. And John, what was your monthly income roughly? Getting it. And then I trade back, get up, trade the conversation again. What kind of work did you do? Oh, did you like it? I'm still doing my process. I'm not getting in control. He thinks that I'm getting to work. Oh yes, I better get down to business. But I know that if I skip, it's not going to happen. If I skip a part of the process, it doesn't work out. So always, even when the people say they're ready to buy, they're giving you a price, don't believe that. You can maybe move a little faster with them, right? It's not going to be so much chit chat, but you still need to create the why. You still need to really develop and build some type of connection, educate them a little bit so they know that they can feel good about this. They understand the price never goes up, the basics. You don't want to just, oh yeah, you want to buy it? Sure. So I have ran into that a couple times, and whenever I took the bait, it never worked out. It was always
every time. I mean, you and I both know a really good man wrote a ton in final expense, and he got completely out of final expense because he had a chargeback nightmare, going too quick in the homes, putting too big of policies in these homes, right? You may get it, but you're not going to keep it, right? And it's about persistency. And that's one of the pitfalls of this industry. They don't tell you about, stick rate, right? Or the fact that if you do things wrong in this industry, you're not going to get the wealth. You may have temporary issue pay, but you're going to have more problems post-issue than you even knew. Okay, so be careful on that. So appreciate Kyle's perspective on that. So definitely keep yourself tight, everyone, but it's not the truth that there's some new way to get things done in a 25-minute or less process when you're doing what him and I do. And Kyle can compress time as well as a face-to-face cat where he goes, just sign right here, spit on this screen and sign after you've inputted the information, correct? Is that not the truth there, Kyle? You can go a little quicker than I can when I'm doing telephonic on the application. Sorry, you're on mute, buddy.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, that is the case. Going through the application, you can move pretty quick. There's no voice authorization. In some cases, it you write like a Royal Neighbors app in the house face to face. It's fast.
It is.
I don't know how much time you save. I don't have a lot of telesales experience, but yeah, you can move a little faster.
A tele app for us, okay, same carrier, okay, from point to point, we're looking around 25 minutes because that interview's got to take place. And do you have this? Do you have that? Has that all been sent? All that stuff has to take place on our end when you're doing it tele because it's all verbal, right? Where when you're face to face, it probably is very quick in comparison. So you've got the ability to get that app done, even faster than us.
I would say probably 12 to 18 minutes face to face. So you save some time. But yeah, 25 minutes, guys. It's just it's appealing to those who don't know any better.
Exactly.
which is also, it's not really a good way to, if you're building a team and watching this, man, that's not a good way to build a team. Like I don't want people just to sign up and join my agency and then everything I told them isn't the truth. It's like, this is where frustration happens.
Mm-hmm.
When your reality doesn't meet the expectations that have been set. That gap, this is the expectation that's been set. This has been your reality. This is frustrating. And so what I always try to do is really try to under promise and over deliver. I don't want people to think they're going to be writing, yeah, average case size is about $800 when it's 600, like, now you can get it up higher, but if you're average, it's going to be about $50 a month, depending on where you live. So I just try to, I would say try to build the agency on rock, build it on the truth, and like,
right,
not the churn and burn, blue sky pitch type of deal.
Industry is tough enough without getting taken. Okay. Buying things you don't need to be buying, right? Jumping into an MLM, pitfall number one, right? Buying technology stuff that you don't really need, that won't really take you to the next level. Nothing wrong with it. It's good. Okay. I'm a proponent of them for the right agent, but it's not, okay, the unicorn that's going to take you to Mars and back. It's just not everyone, but it's not bad. It's not good. It's benign. Okay. We're talking about, okay, what we talked about here, the new way to sell insurance. It's fiction. Kyle can't even do it. He can write his application almost 100% faster than me, okay, in telesales. And if we can't even get the apps done, hi, how are you, and buy from me, we've now hopefully helped you from that pitfall. It's a facade, okay? Be careful. You're going to get got, okay? We're trying to protect you here. The last topic that we'll dive into that's a pitfall of a lot of agents is leads, okay? Leads are leverage. Leads are important, okay? And I know some agents are on like this wild goose chase to find the cheapest, easiest lead. So let's talk about like internet type leads, Facebook leads versus a higher intent lead. My own opinion, I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars utilizing Facebook leads myself. Okay. I've sold countless thousands and thousands of dollars using the gold standard direct mail. Okay. More expensive lead platform, everyone watching. And I've used SEO leads. I've used inbound leads. I mean, name the lead. I've beta tested it myself as an agency owner. I'm not going to let anybody test a lead if I haven't really gotten after it, or I'm going to have my top reps hit it and they're going to give me their live feedback, pro and con. Okay. I'm not going to let any agent, okay, that partners at Jasonfinalexpense.com be what I call a canary. Okay. So let's talk about leads. Okay. Facebook leads versus a direct mail buyer intent. Okay. Because there's definitely some folks out there in the industry are like, oh, Facebook lead is the gold standard now versus a direct mail. Not saying that you couldn't make a really expensive Facebook lead for those of you watching, funnel it down, but you're going to find yourself in a position where that buyer intent is not going to necessarily be as high because of the algorithms and everything associated. So you could have a Facebook lead that is a much higher buyer intent than a generic Facebook lead. But in reality, even when you tune it up to have higher buyer intent, what that means to you, the audience, is it costs you a whole lot more. The more you funnel it, the more you compress it to get higher buyer intent, it's going to cost you a lot more per lead, which could be close to the same as a direct mail anyway, or another higher intent lead platform as well. So your experience, brother, in hitting this versus a web lead or an internet lead versus a direct mail, what is your percentage of needed web leads versus what you can accomplish with, let's say, 20 direct mail leads, just for example, or 20 higher intent leads? What's your ratio, would you say, in your experience?
Sure. So, I mean, I think there's a distinction between a Facebook lead and then an internet lead.
Absolutely.
So the Facebook lead, if I would rank them in priority or rank them in intent and quality, number one would be direct mail. Number two would be like the Facebook lead. Number three would be the internet lead. I would personally work an aged 1 to 3 year old direct mail lead before I would work an internet lead, personally. So, and I would just go door knock those age leads. So to give you a ratio, I just did a talk on this. I would say 20 direct mail leads would be adequate to about 100 internet leads. And
Absolutely.
if that's a little aggressive, you could say, okay, well, 30 direct mail leads. But I don't think so. Like I've got a video out on mail drop results. And I dropped 2,000 piece mail with need a lead. It cost me like 900 some odd dollars, and it got 25 leads. Not great. 1.2% response rate, I think is what it was. And I wrote over 11,000. And I go through it in depth. Like, this was this lady. This was $47 with this company. This was $112 with this company. And so direct mail is great. And the thing about direct mail, that particular drop, it was all in the same zip code. Why does that matter? Well, because I can process my leads faster, less drive time. So I drive to the area, but then they're all in this same zip. So whereas a Facebook lead, I'm kind of jumping around here. The Facebook lead, you get them, it's like a 25-mile radius. And okay, your lead cost might be a little bit less, but you go work them. You'll see, like, go
You'll
work
know
them.
real quick.
I've worked them. Like, you'll see. One time I did Facebook leads. I had 25 leads for the week. It's like $600, and I was in, like, spread out amongst like 9 or 10 counties. Like, you can't work hard, you can't work efficiently. What happens when you sit down to dial for a face-to-face agent and you're trying to, like, think about logistics? Like, all right, like not only they don't necessarily answer the phone whenever you want, so you're calling through these 25 leads, they're so spread out, you start to see, like, oh, this is a problem. So the two big things with, like, Facebook or direct mail, and then Facebook and internet. And Facebook is better than the internet leads, but the two big things is, number one is the intent, and I'll explain to you what I mean. But number two is the distance that you have to cover to work them in face-to-face, at least. The distance is just crazy. So with the intent, what does this mean? I was just talking to some agents about dialing the phone, people who are anxious and nervous about dialing the phone. And I said, I want to get your mind right. Like, you're not a telemarketer. Right. They've requested the information. You're calling somebody. It's not a cold call. And I want you to think about what they did. They got this card in the mail and they opened it and they read it. And I said, oh, where's the pen? Baby, you see my pen? They go get a pen. They write it, their name, their phone number, their email address, whatever it might be, their spouse's name. They pull out the return envelope, they put it in there. They got to lick it. They lick the envelope. If they're in the city, they just open up the front door and put it in the mailbox. If they're in the country, they got to put their shoes on. They got to put their boots on, walk out in this snow, walk across the street, maybe walk across the highway, and put it in the mailbox. Versus an internet lead where you don't know what they clicked. You have no quality control. They click it. It could say free toaster. It can auto-populate their name, phone number, address, because it's been in there from Facebook, or it's linked to their Gmail account or whatever. It can auto-populate, and then they could even try to exit out of that in some cases. I don't know. You don't know. And that's a lead.
You paid for it.
And you can pay $27 for this exclusive lead, a fresh exclusive lead, but there's no quality control. They're spread out far. You don't know what that funnel looks like. Versus a direct mail, there's no question. You know they filled it out. You know they licked the envelope. They sent this back. And I'm telling you, it shows when you work them. Like, it really does. I don't make any money when you buy leads from me to lead. I don't have any incentive, but I'm telling you, you'll have better luck. You will be a better agent and have a better business working direct mail, and you'll be a lot less frustrated, because as a face-to-face agent, the last thing I'll touch on, I teach every agent, like, this is a profitability thing, like, get resolution, get on their front porch, get a yes or a no in person. And if you do that, guys, if you buy 20 direct mail leads and you're okay on the phone, but you work those leads and you have, like, the hustle muscle, it's just effort. If you resolve those leads, like, that's the work part of this business. It's not sitting with the client. It's the work part is tracking them down for
Right.
face to face. If you do that, you'll be okay. But it's a lot harder to do that when you're buying Facebook or internet every single week and they're so spread out. You'll want to rip your hair out.
Absolutely. And I love the geography of a direct mail. It's amazing. It's when you're doing the web leads, when you're doing the internet leads, when you're doing the make your own Facebook leads, buy your Facebook leads, it's the same beast. Okay. You're like what I call a human ping pong ball. Okay. You're all over this couple zips. And it's like if your appointments are 20 minutes apart, okay, you could be a 40-minute round trip, 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. You just lost 40 minutes on your clock. That hurts, yeah. Okay, you could be even farther in those Facebook leads. A lot of them are auto populated. Even when you design your own, it like auto fills it. And let's face it, people don't even put their real dates of birth in their own Facebook accounts. Okay, it's the truth. It could be a Yabba Dabba Doo as a name, and you're paying for it. You're paying for it as an agent, and that hurts. Also on Facebook leads, the buyer intent, like you're talking about, crazy difference in buyer intent. You got to be intentional, right? That like Mrs. Sally or Miss Mary was intentional about going out to the mailbox in the snow and putting it in there and putting the flag up. It is a higher buyer intent where Facebook auto populates in the news feed. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know many agents. I don't know many. Okay. And I've got countless hundreds that partner, and I know agents, okay, as well as agency owners. I had a chat with another agency owner that you even know too, Kyle, and we talked about the fact that do they use Facebook leads as their primary lead source? Primary. And you know what? Out of thousands of agents, he only had one that was successful at it, and he paid somebody else to do it for them. Okay. He only knew of one person that was massively successful doing Facebook leads as his primary source. Okay. Where it's like, oh, well, book your Calendlies and all this kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, everyone. You can make money. You can. But the majority of folks out there, that's not their main jam. Okay. It's not. You do need, like Kyle's saying, about 100, okay, web or internet leads. You need about 100 to equal the same. If you're a face-to-face agent, might I add, as a face-to-face agent, you need about 20 to 25 direct mails to get the same results. That's something to consider. So is a faster lead, because let's get real, Facebook leads are faster, internet leads are faster. Are they going to fulfill you and help you gain more traction in this industry? Well, as Kyle's saying, is that the truth or no? They're not going to gain you much, I don't think, Kyle, if you're buying 100 of those leads to equal 20 of the other. And it's like fast food's great. It'll put a burger in your belly. Okay. But is it as good as home cooking, where maybe it costs you a little more and takes you a little bit more time to get those leads back? Well, as a face-to-face agent, I've done that too. I've worked direct mail leads. Okay. As a face-to-face guy, love them. Let me tell you, it's phenomenal in what they do for you. You don't need as many. These sweet clients pick up the phone. They aren't being pounded to death, because Facebook leads, internet leads, once you click on one thing, it's like everybody's pecking them to death like a duck. They're coming after them hot. So the pickup rates are not the same. I don't know if you've experienced that as well, Kyle, that an internet lead or a Facebook lead doesn't have the same pickup rate that a DM would. Is that your experience as well?
That is my experience as well. And that one, I mean, other than people putting their wrong numbers, I
Right.
don't really know why that happens. But yeah, when calling direct mail lead, my experience has been for about every 10 dials, you should have a contact. Someone should pick up the phone. So if you make 150 dials, you should talk to right around, give or take, 15 people. So I've heard people making hundreds of dials with internet leads, and
Yeah.
like, dude, I've done this. I mean, it's when I first went independent, I recall, I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I first went independent. I was looking for like an aged lead source, and someone said, "Oh yeah, check out this website," and I bought like 100 of them. They were really cheap, and I didn't know. Like I had worked aged direct mail leads before,
Right.
and I had a lot of success with them because there's a lot of bad agents. A lot of
Absolutely.
bad agents who buy leads, don't have a good process, don't work hard, quit the industry, and these clients never heard anything. So there's a lot of opportunity in age leads, but these were like aged internet leads, and I bought them and I called them, scheduled my dial time, sat there, call, and I was pretty good on the phone. Like I had been doing this for a while, And I was getting frustrated, man. So it's just not the same thing, you know? It's not. It's not the
Absolutely.
same thing. And if anybody says that it is, say, all right, record it live. Do it live, I have live dials on YouTube. I take the client's address and name and sensitive information out. Like, do it live. Put your internet leads on there, call through them live, and no edited stuff, and let's see what you can do. Because I got a video, man, where we're appointment setting, direct mail. There's a
Mhm.
video on my channel where you can watch. I book 7 appointments in like 51 minutes
Absolutely, with direct mail.
with
But you're not
direct.
going to do that on an instant lead. You're not going to do that on an internet lead. You're going to not anything that's instantly produced is like fast food of the industry. Okay. For those of you watching, anything that's instantly produced, right? Whether it's a Google word search ad, an SEO lead, a Facebook lead, an internet lead, whatever they want to call it, anything that's instantly produced. Okay. Anything that's fast and free and cheap is probably going to chip away at your success ratios. Okay. I'm just telling you, it's like quit getting so cheap on yourself with leads that you have to like go get a $4 lead, a $6 lead. Okay. Buy a telemarketed lead for $4 and get your, you know what, sued. Stop it. Like, stop chasing the cheapest thing, because cheap will not help you capitalize. For everyone
Yeah.
watching, cheap does not help you capitalize. There's no like magic sauce here. Okay. That you can just go buy a Facebook lead. Magically, you're going to find success because your leads are really cheap. Cheap means you got lower buyer intent most times. There's like even lower buyer intent than another lead. And lead vendors, let me share with you, there's a lot of bad lead vendors out there. They are, okay?
There are.
But there's a lot of good ones. And if you know the good ones, it's like knowing the fishing holes. You can know that there's a lake and there's lots of water and there's fish. You got to know where to put your lines in, okay, to get the right bait, okay, to take care of great people. So understand that leads can hurt you. Higher intent leads will lead to, an agent to hopefully a higher level of results, but it's not guaranteed in this industry. Okay. For those of you watching, it's not guaranteed, but you've got to grind. This industry is grind. And to get direct mail, to get higher intent, even a really higher intent web lead, I'd rather pay a little bit more for a lead and have a higher level of conversion than to get leads that are cheap, spend all the time. Okay. Do you produce your own Facebook leads, Kyle? Do you do your own Facebook leads? Do you spend any time on that
No,
yourself?
I don't.
Me neither. I don't. Okay. I'm not that smart. I got some great men and women that, I can give you the audience to if you want to do that yourself, but no major top level producer uses that as their primary, okay, lead method. I don't know any other than like one from another agency, isn't even in my agency. And there's nothing wrong with Facebook leads. I look at Facebook leads personally like a filler. I don't know what your views are on that, Kyle. I want to hire like intent lead, and Facebook leads are fast. So I use Facebook leads as a filler lead, not as my leading role, if that makes sense. That's just for me, though. That's just my 2 cents. They're not Facebook leads. There's nothing wrong with them, but a lot of the pitfalls of this industry, people think, oh, I can just get 100 Facebook leads and yay, la-di-da-di, and they'll book my Calendly and solid. I make piles of money, but it's not all about the technology for those of you watching. Okay. It's about calling. This is an effort business. Always has been, always will be. Don't get shined on. Don't take the bait and get put in the pit and put yourself out of the industry because you went too cheap on yourself. Okay. You
Yeah.
can get good aged leads and make great wealth. You can. There's good aged leads out there that are cheaper than an internet lead, cheaper than a Facebook lead, and it'll give you higher results. Stupid. That's just
Yeah.
my 2 cents. What are your thoughts, Kyle? You've done this a long time.
Yeah. I think the same thing, man. Don't get cheap on yourself. And I want to give you, an analogy. First of all, the conversion rate is what really matters.
Absolutely.
Like, if I'm talking to a new agent and they say, "Well, Kyle, man, I'm sitting around, I'm driving around, I already filled my gas tank up, man. Haven't made a sale today." I'm like, don't let a nickel get in the way of a dollar. Like,
Mm,
you're talking about $30 you had to put in your gas tank. How much do you make when you write an average policy? $600, right? Right. How many tanks of gas is that? Don't let a nickel get in the way of a dollar. If you're like that, you're either going to have to get out of this industry or you're going to have to get over that. You got to start thinking differently. So like people freak out. Like, oh, did you see gas was $2 a gallon? Now it's $3 a gallon.
right?
my car's got about 11 gallons in it. So if I fill my car up, that's a difference of $11. Is that a big of a deal? Like, I don't want gas to go up. I understand. But is it that big of a deal? $10? Is it like going to stop me from traveling? No. Am I going to change my lifestyle because of it? No. So if you pay $40 for a direct mail lead, that's high, right? That's high. You should be able to get it cheaper than that.
Absolutely.
But I would rather pay $40 for a direct mail lead. So if you spend $1,000 a week and you could buy 100 $10 internet leads for $1,000, or you could buy 25 direct mail leads at $40 a piece and spend the same $1,000. The agent who spends their $1,000 on 25 direct mail will do better. They'll be able to work more efficiently. They'll be able to concentrate their efforts. They won't have to take the whole week to resolve their leads. They can resolve them working really hard 2-3 days. I mean, it's not a comparison. So like if I had a bad mail drop, I've told you about this before.
Absolutely.
I had a bad mail drop, worst mail drop I've ever had, as far as rate of return. I got 8 leads. I spent it ended up costing me a little bit over $100 per lead. People would say, oh my God. But I wrote 4 out of the 8.
Okay.
And like one policy, $90 some a month with Royal Neighbors, like I cleared it. Awesome. I made money, one policy. The 3 others, one's a single premium. There's a couple other policies. It was profitable. Was it the most profitable drop ever? No, but that's the intent. Not everybody's going to convert 50% of their leads to applications, but that's what you want to focus on, guys. Like, don't get caught up on this nickel up front. If you're going to get caught up on a nickel, if you're going to have that type of mindset, this is probably not the industry for you. There's a story one of my old mentors used to tell me about a spider monkey. This spider monkey, hold on, Jason.
Oh, I know.
The spider monkey,
bring it.
In the jungle, they get their hands in these little, I guess it's a coconut. They got to get their hand like this to get it in. And they're trying to get the food. And they're just frantically getting this. They're so worried about eating their next little meal. They get their little hands in there. They got the food, and then they can't get their hand out. And they're so fixated on this. A predator's coming, and they get killed. They just couldn't let it go. This little meal, this little nickel, this little dime. Like, I'm not telling you to spend recklessly. I am far from that. I'm not reckless with my money. I save a lot of money, but don't get focused on the nickel over the dollar. Like, you're letting this nickel get in the way of $1. You want a cheap lead. It's like, I'm telling you, I have no incentive, by the way. You don't even know me. It's not the right way to go. And most agents who go that route, the unfortunate thing is, Jason, they're going to do what their upline tells them. They're going to spend thousands of dollars in these internet leads. They're going to be so damn frustrated. They're not going to get results, the majority of them, and they're going to quit before they ever even had a competent upline who said, buy 20 direct mail, buy 25 direct mail leads. This is how you do it. Get referrals in every home. This is a process. They give you a good process to work through the presentation. That's the unfortunate thing, guys. I'm telling you right now, I swear, I will never work 100 internet leads a week. I will never do that because I know better. And by the way, oftentimes the people promoting this, they're also selling you the lead. That's Jason and I, we don't sell you leads. I don't sell leads. I don't make any money when you buy leads. I'm only making money if you make money, if you sell a policy. So that would be my perspective on it, man. Don't let a nickel get in the way of $1.
Love that, brother. Love that. And it's so true. Like it just is. Like, and I paid someone to run a Facebook lead campaign for me. Okay. A couple years back. Okay. I had an organization out there that like did all the Facebook leads. Okay. Sent them to the Google spreadsheet, did everything. I spent like $19,000 that year. And let me tell you, I quit doing it. For everyone watching, I quit doing it because yes, it's like it'll produce a lead. Yeah. But the intent just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse because it always starts off okay sometimes. Right. And then it just gets, you're all over the planet. Like you are a human ping pong ball. You can't be as profitable when you're not as condensed. Like you can get a tighter geography hit. You're just, I don't know. I've done it myself. I put my own money where my mouth is. And that's not my jam. Those kind of leads are fillers, not your primary. So just for those of you watching, I don't play these games where it's like I'll promote something to get paid. And there's a lot of folks in the industry that do that kind of a thing. Okay. It just is what it is. It's kind of the plague of the industry, for sure. But understanding good leads versus gotcha. Okay. Just be careful. Make sure that you're using good leads because leads are leverage to help your clients get what they want from you. What are you doing for them? Like the old so what? So what am I doing for Mrs. Johnson today? What am I doing for them? The more that you can serve their needs, okay, find the problems that they have, then guess what? If your product fits their problem, now you got a sale. So it's taking care of them first. But no, love your perspective on that and on the leads. I think transparency is important for the audience just to understand, so they don't get shined on. I'm not a big high tech guy. I pay people for that, and I've done it. And let me tell you, they're not my primary lead source. I don't care. Cheap costs me more money, right? Cheap costs me more.
Oh yeah, it's like you could use that with clothing. You could use that with a house. You could use that with a vehicle. When you go cheap, there's certain things in life. And I've learned this as I get a little older. I didn't grow up with money. I used to be a big fan of all the bargain deals. But now like you start to put some money back and you're like, you know what? I don't want to buy cheap stuff. Cheap stuff, it's not as nice. It doesn't hold up as well. The durability, So very rarely, very seldom is it good to go cheap. So, and that's not just in our business, not just with leads.
Right. It's great advice. Great advice for life. Well, Kyle, I appreciate you. And for those of you watching, Kyle's a great man. He doesn't pay me to say that. He's a good dude and friend of the industry. Okay. So for any of the audience that wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach you? And I'll put his information, his YouTube channel and everything in the description here. But go ahead and let them know how they can find you as well.
Sure. Yeah. So YouTube, put out videos every day, focusing in the same type of industry, life insurance. The majority of my agents are face-to-face. That's where I spent most of my experience. If you want to check out my agency, if you go to kylestuder.com, there's some generic information there about my philosophy. If you scroll to the bottom, there's a contact card where we can get in touch and set up a time to kind of have a discussion. And then also the social media platform I'm most active on other than YouTube is Facebook. So if you're an insurance agent and you want to interact on there, I do post stuff on there almost every day. You can add me, but when you add me on Facebook, just please include a message. Let me know you're a life insurance agent so I can accept it, because man, there's so much. Facebook's cool. It's a cool tool, but a lot of spam. I get like so many friend requests on there. I don't even know why. So just put a message that you're an agent.
Right. Well, I appreciate you. For those of you that paid for Facebook leads, spam and bots hit your stuff too, and you're going to pay for every one of those leads. We'll drop it with that. All right. I appreciate everybody watching. Have a great one. If you need anything at all, jasonfinalexpense.com. Thank you, Kyle.